Guys, Coach Kurt. So here's another technique spotlight. This one's a little different. This is going to be focusing on handcuffing post taser. Recently did some control tactics with my department where I was teaching taser classes. One thing I consistently see is that lull in the action. After you've tased somebody, they ride the taser for 5 seconds, and then they get full composure back. If they're on drugs, they probably didn't feel anything anyway, but the taser locks them up. Once that 5 seconds is over, they are free to jump back up and scramble and jump around and fight you. And here's some videos just showing that exact situation. See, he's down, he's rode the lightning for 5 seconds, and he's trying to get back up again. And the officers are in that I'm not sure what to do mode because, let's face it, officers don't get nearly enough training in this realm. In the academy, they show you how to tase somebody, and then somehow they're mysteriously cooperative. But what happens if they're on drugs or mentally ill, and you've tased them and they go down? You keep pulling that trigger, and the courts have made it perfectly clear they will judge you every time you squeeze the trigger on that taser and give him another 5 seconds. They're going to judge you for each time you pull that trigger, and it better be a relevant reason to do it. It needs to be objectively reasonable. And there are people that are getting hurt because the officer doesn't know what to do, so he keeps pulling the trigger, like this guy keeps trying to get back up. If they had some basic MMA style grappling, some basic jiu-jitsu skills, and that's where we're going with this, boys and girls. And I know I beat this dead horse. I'm talking about how you need to have better grappling skills on the ground. It doesn't matter what your stand-up game is, but if you don't have some kind of ground game, and by game I mean something you can do post-arrest. You've arrested them, or i.e. you've tased them, they are down, and that 5 seconds is a short amount of time to move in and handcuff. And you need to gain control quick, fast, and in a hurry. And that's what this video is. What are you going to do after that 5 seconds is up? You may get away with pulling the trigger another time to get in because they're trying to get back up and fight you or run away. But now what? And you see what I'm doing on screen now. I'm doing positional control. It's not about zipping quick, fast, in a hurry to a submission. It's about positional control. And a lot of times they'll either end up on their back, on their side, or on their stomach. And if you have decent grappling skills, and by decent I mean at least I would say a year or two of jiu-jitsu under your belt. And I'm not talking sport jiu-jitsu, although you can absolutely learn what you need to learn at a sports school, but you need to supplement it with some basic atemiwaza. And I'm not talking about ground and pound like you see in MMA. I'm talking about those little tittle pity pats that you see me doing on the screen, just so they get their arms up to protect their face. That allows you to engage their arm and use some kind of arm twisting technique or arm twisting control into a seatbelt position or into a handcuffing position, shoulder lock. You get the idea. One of my favorite positions is to use twisting arm control, or the gift wrap, as they call it in a lot of jiu-jitsu schools. And you need to be able to feel comfortable riding that powerful, angry energy that they're going to have after that 5 seconds is up. Going to knee on belly, sliding into a mount, holding that position. The Gracies like to say you have what they call the 100-second rule. They're not suggesting that you have to wait 100 seconds before you try submitting somebody. The concept is you wear them out. You hold that position. You wait for the right moment to go for that shoulder lock, i.e. your Kimura, your Americana, and then transfer into handcuffing. Guys, I've got countless videos on handcuffing from the ground against a not cooperating, fighting opponent. Look those up. This video is about holding that positional control, or encouraging you to finally train on your own time, because I've beat that dead horse. Your agency isn't going to pay for it. There are maybe 1% of agencies out there that are going to give you the kind of training you absolutely need to do your job safely and protect the public. Not only the good guys, but the bad guys, because sometimes you got to protect them from themselves. They're on drugs. They're mentally ill. They're trying to fight you. And the situation hasn't ever is into a situation where you have to use deadly force. God help you. I hope you go your entire career and you never have to use deadly force. But if you get into a situation where you have to handcuff somebody, especially post-taser, they are going to be stirred up. And they're probably not going to cooperate. They're still in their lizard brain. They're still freaking out. The pain is gone, and they're going to want to escape. Once that 5-second ride is up, the pain is gone, and for them, it's like, they want to escape. They want to get the hell out of Dodge. They did not like that. And the cop ends up pulling that trigger over and over and over because they don't know what else to do. Ladies and gentlemen, I assure you, 99.9% of cops are not bad people. They just don't have the training. The department hasn't given it to them. And they don't have a lot of time on their hands, so you're not seeing a lot of cops in your local jiu-jitsu schools learning how to grapple, or your MMA schools, or they're in an area where there isn't something like that. Whatever that may be, it needs to be fixed. It needs to be changed. You need to have that comfort to work that positional control on the ground, from side control, from mount, and from taking their back. And we're not necessarily going to a rear naked choke like you would in jiu-jitsu. You've got to find other alternatives. Not that you can't use vascular restraints in law enforcement. Is it objectively reasonable? Are they going for your gun? Are they trying to disarm you? And then, yeah, you could use a vascular restraint to defend yourself in most cases. There are still some departments that don't care that the guy's trying to shoot you in the face. They say you just can't use a vascular restraint. Guys, Graham v. Connor, is it objectively reasonable? It doesn't matter how you get to that level of force. It doesn't matter how that force shows itself. If deadly force is authorized, it doesn't matter if you run them over with a car, drop a piano on their head, or shoot them. Deadly force is deadly force. You're not going to get their life back after that. The point is, you better make sure you had to do it when you get to that situation. And God help you if you don't have the skills to handle yourself on the ground. On the screen, you're seeing various methods of getting the handcuffing. All of it is grappling based. I say Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu because that's what's so commonly used out there. We're talking Gracie Survival Tactics, the GST program. Gracie Combatives is another good program. If all you have is a sport jiu-jitsu school in your area, great. Then you can supplement with Gracie Survival Tactics or Gracie Combatives. If there's an MMA school in your area, make sure they have a good grappling program, but you're still going to have to check some of those strikes. You can use a temiwaza, as we call it in Japanese Taiho Jitsu and Japanese Jiu-Jitsu, in the Japanese systems in general. A temiwaza is your vital point striking. I call it the V8 strikes. You've heard me call that before, where I'm just trying to get that reaction out of them. I got some quick little open hand pats onto their forehead that brings their arms up when they're being mounted, and I go for the submission. Guys, I hope I got my point across. That 5 seconds is a short time after you tase somebody, so you better work on your position control, and that was the point of this technique spotlight, is that positional control. All right, guys, everybody, please take care, stay safe, and be careful out there.